My wife, the CEO, is in love and has a lover. Now I am super considerate. Not only will I not make things awkward for either party, I will also considerately urge her to go on the date. She was quite satisfied and showed off to her girlfriends. See, aren't people just mean? Who says only men can go out and play? Once they're tamed, they'll be just as well behaved. There were inexplicable meanings in the looks of her close friends. Especially the young lady from the Beijing circle sitting in the corner. After we went crazy last night, she looked at me viciously with a small whip in her hand. When are you going to marry me? Well, you don't want to admit it, right? Originally I just wanted a divorce and take back the property that belonged to me, but I didn't expect that my wife would release the deepest demon in my heart. It will take blood to lock the demon back. 1. Gu Qingwei is in love again. This time it's a young wolfdog who just graduated. Gu Qingwei liked him very much. The little wolfdog is also very clingy and teasing. On my birthday, Gu Qingwei rarely came home. This is the little friendship left between us. As a result, the phone call came before the cake was cut. Although she didn't intend to avoid me, she still went to the balcony. There were some things she said that I shouldn't hear. But I still heard it. Did you go back to accompany that old man? I won't let you be with him. Only I can appreciate your beauty. I want to see you tonight. There is a hint of coquettishness in the sound of the tea. When it is put on a man with 8-pack abs, it feels indescribably awkward. Gu Qingwei just fell for it and coaxed him patiently. Little guy, I'll go and accompany you right after I cut the cake. Get washed and wait for me. I bought the Piaget watch you like. I'll give it to you later. After a long while of lingering, the little wolfdog's jealousy finally dissipated, and he added another sentence at the end. You can't have any intimate actions with him. I'll be jealous. Gu Qingwei laughed so hard that she fell backwards. It seemed that this little wolfdog was really favored by her. Okay, I definitely won't let him touch me. I'll let you check it later, okay? Listening with an indifferent expression, nowadays the little wolfdog is so confident, it seems that my wife is really charming. After Gu Qingwei finished her call, I kindly handed her the Piaget watch on the table. Don't take the wrong one. You'll have to coax her if she gets jealous. This piece should be given to the little wolfdog. I don't deserve it. She was just stunned for a moment, but there was no embarrassment on her face. He calmly took out another box from his bag. Green submariner watch, I know you like it, your birthday present. He even took the wrong gift, which shows how thoughtful he is. The gift from the little wolfdog is worth $1 million, and the gift from the real husband is worth 10 less, which is not bad. Thanks. I took it without saying anything. The gifts were well chosen, the green color suits me very well, and they were all given by her. Perhaps I acted too indifferent, a different emotion flashed in Gu Qingwei's eyes. Tokihashi. She pulled my sleeve and wanted to snuggle in my arms. In the past, I never had the ability to resist this move, but today I was able to block it. No, your dear assistant won't let you. We'll need him to check on us later. She was stunned for a moment, her eyes dimmed a lot, and in order to hide her guilty conscience, she quickly switched to anger mode. Sitting on the sofa, staring at me expressionlessly. Tokihashi, don't get upset. That was all just a show. You are my only husband. Hee hee. This sentence is really well said. Just for fun, you put a celery-colored hat on your husband. Besides, there is no need for a female president and a male assistant to put on a show. Not interested in dealing with her. She picked up her phone and sent a message to her assistant. Ms. Gu wants to spend time with her husband tonight, so you can pick up your gift tomorrow. Just a few minutes later, Gu Qingwei's cell phone rang. The result is what I wanted. Gu Qingwei put on her high heels and went out. The little wolfdog needs to be coaxed. Let out a long sigh. People always change. In the past, I always considered her first in everything. Now. It's disgusting just looking at it. 2. Gu Qingwei and I got married after falling in love. But love finally lost to money. After the company went public, she began to lose her way. Maybe this is the kind of life she has always longed for, but she just didn't have the conditions before. Over the years, she has had so many handsome male assistants around her that I can't even count them all. At first, I was very angry. There have been many quarrels over this. Maybe my attitude was too tough, and it did play a certain role. Although we had been estranged mentally for a long time, she still held her bottom line physically and did not return to her family. The male assistant had only been hired for a few days when the two of them took that step. Facing my questioning, Gu Qingwei just looked at me coldly. Lu Shiqiao, stop making trouble. I'm the CEO. Some things always need to be handled according to circumstances. Besides, I know how to handle this matter. There's no need for you to make a fuss. Isn't it enough that you will always be President Gu's husband? I won't give you a penny less. You should pretend you don't know about this. Looking at the face that has been with me for 10 years, I smiled. Then can I also find a few lovers? Gu Qingwei bit her red lips and scolded me. Lu Shiqiao, if you dare to betray your marriage, I will kill you. Look, what a double standard. However, I have never been threatened. Of course, I'm not as brainless as Gu Qingwei, who becomes love-minded when she sees a member of the opposite sex. From that day on, I let go completely. I will no longer interfere with the question of who Gu Qingwei dates. I simply chose to ignore all the bad things she did. He even kindly urged her to go on dates to avoid polluting the air at home. She was quite satisfied and showed off to her girlfriends. See, aren't people just mean? Who says only men can go out and play? Once they're tamed, they'll be just as well behaved. That day, there were inexplicable meanings in the eyes of her close friends. Because I am a trader of a private equity fund and the team I lead is very famous, and their respective companies all want to invite me. With my team, doubling the company's revenue is no problem. In the past, I only had Gu Qingwei in my eyes, and I always kept a polite distance from them. Ever since they knew there were cracks in our relationship, they always looked for opportunities to throw themselves into my arms. It can be said that almost all of Gu Qingwei's girlfriends have flirted with me. If I wanted to, I could describe a prairie for her at any time. The only exception was the cold woman sitting in the corner of the table, Shen Jihan, the most beloved granddaughter of the Shen family in Beijing. After we went crazy last night, she looked at me viciously with a small whip in her hand. When are you going to marry me? Well, you don't want to admit it, right? I have done everything I promised you. That's right, Shen Jihan has been very clingy recently. She is jealous even when nothing happens. I really don't know why this young lady who can get whatever she wants is so jealous. I turned on my phone and Shen Jihan's sweet voice came out. Tokihashi, come out. I miss you. No answer. A few seconds later, the girl sent another photo, showing her seductive long legs in black stockings. There is also a beautiful vest line. The pajamas this girl is wearing are very romantic. How dare you send me this kind of photo? Don't you plan to go to the company tomorrow? I'm good in every way except that I can't stand being provoked by women. 3. Still the same place, the presidential suite of a 5-star hotel, Miss Shen's favorite. I waited for a long time, but there was no movement. Well, someone must be mad. Miss, if you don't open the door, I'm leaving. I'm not interested in pampering this cool girl. As soon as he finished speaking, the door opened. A pair of jade hands pulled me in instantly. Shen Jihan's face was full of grievance. She was still wearing the same outfit as in the photo and pouting. Tokihashi, I just wanted to celebrate your birthday, why didn't you reply to my message? Looking at the cold and beautiful face of this young lady, my heart softened a lot. She was at home just now, so it's not convenient. Her beautiful big eyes were filled with tears and countless grievances. Tokihashi, how about divorcing her? I stroked her long hair lovingly. It's not the right time yet. She was stunned for a moment, tears about to overflow. Why? I have prepared everything you need. You can achieve your goal at any time. If you don't divorce me, then what am I? I hold my forehead with my hand. What do you mean you don't know the answer? My little lover. But I dare not say this. Shen Jihan is obviously the eldest daughter of the Shen family in Beijing and is a very pampered person. The jade-faced Rakshasa is well known in the business world for his brutal methods. Every time she comes to me, she acts like a little woman, as if she has suffered a lot of injustice. But I just fall for it. Of course, we are also a community of interests. She needs my trading skills and team, and I need the Shen family to help me get back the money that belongs to me. Don't worry, I will definitely do what I said. Otherwise, why would I come to you? Wait a little longer. I am no longer love-brained now. What Gu Qingwei owes me must be returned double. Gu Qingwei's company won a big project some time ago, which was worth 3 billion yuan. By then, the company's assets will be able to double, and there will definitely be problems with the capital chain, so it will be the most suitable time to operate. At that time, I will let her know why she has been so successful in recent years. I deserve that money too. After all, during the most difficult days of her entrepreneurship, it was me who accompanied her and ate bread in the rental house. It was also me who attracted one investor after another and used my own savings to invest in her. Shen Jihan still needs to be coaxed. This young lady is very susceptible to this. Be good, I won't leave tonight. You have the final say on what to do. She smiled, very happily, and her pretty face like an iceberg blossomed with bright flowers, which almost stunned me. Well, I'm beautiful, have a good family background, and I love you wholeheartedly. There's no reason for you not to choose me. Why didn't I realize before that the young lady is still a love-brained person? After saying that, she domineeringly pushed me down on the sofa and showed off her proud cleavage. Don't you want to open it and see what's going on? Well, the eldest lady will do it. In the face of such a beautiful scene, my insignificant resistance had long since betrayed me. I roughly understand the happiness that Gu Qingwei is pursuing. Wild flowers are indeed fragrant. Although the price paid is a repeatedly lowered moral bottom line, it is really great. It just can't be seen in public for the time being. I'm not afraid, but this young lady is not. I don't want to be scolded by the Shen family anymore. Tokihashi, when are you going to marry me? Well, talk now. Tokihashi, I really love you, how about you? Facing her gaze, I couldn't answer. Gently stroke her cheek. I still feel a little guilty, but not much. In this matter, it can be said that I took advantage of Shen Jihan, although she was well aware of it. It is the most difficult to accept the favor of a beautiful woman. Maybe it is not a bad thing for us to meet in person. But let's wait a little longer. Now, my mind is full of revenge. Maybe before long, the young lady will get tired of me and will leave me behind. Just like Gu Qingwei, he was once deeply in love, but it ended with betrayal in the end. And they are top-notch rich second generations like this. Who knows how much truth there is in that statement? If you believe everything you are told, you will soon be tricked. The next day, when I returned home holding my sore lower back, Gu Qingwei was at home for the first time. I looked at the sky and sure enough, it was morning. She is not in the company at this time. Where did you go last night? 4. I had no desire to answer, so I just said it casually. We can't go out and celebrate our birthday, can't we? Gu Qingwei glanced at me, suddenly stood up, and walked in front of me in a few steps. His eyes were cold and his voice was filled with disbelief. Tokihashi, where did the hickey on your neck come from? I thought of Shen Jihan. The little girl was so crazy yesterday. It's just a game, don't take it seriously. Gu Qingwei stared at me viciously, and soon found 2 more kiss marks. She didn't believe a word I said just now. Can you get 3 hickeys by playing games? There is another one right under the shirt, in a very hidden location. She gritted her teeth. Lu Shiqiao, do you have someone else outside? How dare you betray our feelings? Who is she? I pushed the person away and went straight back to my room. He ignored the furious Gu Qingwei. We've been sleeping in separate rooms ever since she finally took that step. There's no way I can do that. I have a mental obsession with cleanliness. Gu Qingwei had long lost the demeanor of a female CEO, and when she went mad, she was no different from a shrew. Lu Shiqiao, how dare you betray our relationship? Tell me who it is. I want her to know the price of provoking me. You can only be my man. Listening to her screaming and banging on the door, I got annoyed and just said something. It's Shen Jihan, go find her. As a result, I know very well that she dare not do that. After all, she has just entered the upper class, and Shen Jihan has a prominent family background. It can be said that if others just move their fingers, Gu Qingwei will go bankrupt. Shen Jihan also suggested helping me to directly destroy Gu Qingwei's company, but I refused. Hearing the name, Gu Qingwei was stunned for a few seconds, then sneered. Lu Shiqiao, if you want to lie, at least find someone reliable. Who is Shen Jihan to like you? Recognize yourself. You are just a traitor that no one wants. You have no skills at all. I just don't despise you. So you better be smart. After hearing these words, the knot in my heart untied, although it still hurts. I used to not understand why Gu Qingwei cheated on me, but now I understand a little bit. It was contempt from Gu Qingwei. Because she thinks I am not worthy of her, she challenges my bottom line again and again. Feelings are really fragile. The betrayer has no psychological burden at all. In fact, in addition to Shen Jihan, her group of close friends have also been trying to contact me. I selected them carefully. They can't do that. Even though their family backgrounds are prominent, they can't meet my requirements. After all, I want revenge. Gu Qingwei and I are different. At least, I still have a bottom line. Not being in heat randomly is definitely an advantage. As for Shen Jihan, it was an accident, and I made it clear in advance. Gu Qingwei, let's get a divorce. I don't want to face her again. Now that the situation has been set up, I also want to be free as soon as possible. Gu Qingwei was stunned for a moment, then said with a mocking look on her face. Lu Shiqiao, you should know that without me you are nothing. Now, kneel down and beg me, or I will really agree to a divorce, and it will be too late for you to regret it then. Gu Qingwei was certain that I was only threatening her with divorce, and my purpose was the same as before. But she didn't expect it. The slap in the face will come so quickly. 5. Shen Jihan waved the room card in her hand and extended an invitation. The address is that of a newly opened 5-star hotel. Someone gave it to me. I heard it's pretty good. Shall we go and try it out? Unexpectedly, this hotel has a good reputation, and Gu Qingwei and her little wolf dog also came there. That's right, how can such a lively event be without Mr. Gu's support? They entered room 886 and we appeared in room 888 the moment they did. Even though we were separated by a wall, I already suspected that Shen Jihan did it on purpose. It's quite exciting when you think about it. As soon as I entered the door, I hugged Shen Jihan and kissed her. You're so brave today. Aren't you afraid that the neighbors will hear you? Her face turned red and her voice trembled a little because of my teasing. Of course I'm not afraid. Didn't you say before that the sound insulation is very good? But how do you know so much? Who did you come with? Shen Jihan's beautiful eyes lit up and she put her arms around my neck. Tokihashi, are you jealous? I love you so much, from now on you can only be jealous of me. But don't worry, I will never do anything to let you down. I never did before and I won't do it again in the future. The inappropriate ringtone really spoils the mood. Shen Jihan let me go reluctantly, and glared at me unhappily with her blurry eyes. He glanced at his phone and frowned slightly. It's Gu Qingwei. The voice on the phone was full of anger, and it could be heard that he was still suppressing it. Open the door. I didn't say anything, perhaps because I was very impatient. Gu Qingwei's voice rang out again. Lu Shiqiao, I have plenty of ways to get you to open the door, don't make it too ugly. Well, it seems that we made a little too much noise just now and Gu Qingwei heard it. I know her character very well, she is very persistent. And if the incident gets out of hand, it will really be bad for Shen Jihan. After all, she had her little wolfhound with her, and I had my little lover with me, sitting opposite each other on the other side of the wall. It's just that Shen Jihan felt a little wronged. How about you hide for a while? Shen Jihan was unhappy and kept clinging to me, refusing to get down. Am I that shameful? Besides, you're all going to get divorced. I rubbed her little head. Be good, the person outside the door hasn't given up his seat yet. It will be bad for you if he makes a fuss. After all, we haven't divorced yet. Your current status is just my mistress. Do you understand? She was very dissatisfied and looked at me with tears in her eyes. She also has a little wolf dog with her. Why should she be so confident and I have to be so humble? Actually, there is nothing wrong with it. We are all betrayers, no one is nobler than anyone else. However, Gu Qingwei's little wolfdog has always been self-righteous and even dared to make trouble in front of me. This time, it was indeed me who made Shen Jihan feel wronged. So I had to kiss her red lips gently and comfort her softly. Wouldn't it be more exciting to keep some mystery? As a result, the little girl became addicted to kissing and kissed me several times. Be good, she means nothing. From now on I belong to you alone. Now, Shen Jihan was satisfied. The light in her beautiful eyes flashed, and the slightly raised corners of her lips showed her pride. That's more like it. The tsundere young lady finally obeyed and walked slowly into the cloakroom. When I opened the door, Gu Qingwei looked very unhappy and gloomy. She was standing outside the door. Where is the person? Where is that shameless guy? Gu Qingwei didn't see anyone and wanted to go in to look for her, but I blocked her outside the door. If you want to go crazy, just tell your little wolf dog. If you can do it on the first day, why can't I do it on the 15th? She gave me a complicated look. Maybe I loved her too much in the past 10 years, which made her mistakenly believe that no matter what she did, I would forgive her and wait for her. Gu Qingwei realized that I was not kidding her and became a little furious. Okay, let's see if you can hide forever. I'm very familiar with the boss here. Wait, I'll check the surveillance now. Lu Shiqiao, I want to see who dares to snatch my men, Gu Qingwei. I shrugged indifferently and went ahead to check it out. I'm not afraid at all. Maybe after the investigation, she will be more willing to agree to a divorce. It's just a little embarrassing. When Gu Qingwei made her call, Shen Jihan's phone rang. Just now this girl forgot to bring her cell phone in and it was left on the sofa. Gu Qingwei gave me a suspicious look, then hung up the phone, and the ringing of the phone on the sofa also stopped abruptly. Dial again, the phone rings again. 6. Now, Gu Qingwei's face looked as ugly as if the company's stock had collapsed. Black with green. Is it Shen Jihan? Yeah, I told you. I really didn't know that this hotel was actually owned by the Shen family. The cloakroom door opened. Shen Jihan walked out calmly and sat on the sofa. This girl actually changed her clothes. That's fine, I can just enjoy the beautiful scenery by myself. With legs crossed, she had a strong presence and looked as natural as if she was in a business negotiation rather than being caught red-handed. Don't bother watching the surveillance. I'm right here. Gu Qingwei's lips moved a few times. His eyes shifted between me and Shen Jihan. In the end, he couldn't help it and pounced on Shen Jihan. Shen Jihan didn't hide because I was already standing in front of her. He stared at Gu Qingwei with cold eyes, which made her a little scared. Don't touch her, you don't deserve it. She was hurt by my cold expression and she no longer had the desire to argue with Shen Jihan. Gu Qingwei clenched and unclenched her fists. In the end, he just pulled me over and uttered a few words. Let's go home and talk about anything. Shen Jihan stood up suddenly and stood in front of me. This was the first time I saw this jade-faced Rakshasa get angry. He exuded an aura that said, keep away from all strangers. Don't touch Tokihashi, you don't deserve it. Gu Qingwei was very angry. Perhaps she had never seen a lover so arrogant. Mr. Shen, Lu Shiqiao is my husband. I don't want to pursue what happened today, but please don't interfere in my family affairs. Shen Jihan didn't buy it and snorted coldly. So what? Isn't the marriage certificate dispensable in your eyes? If you can find happiness with the little wolf dog, he can naturally date me. Seeing that the tension between the two women was growing stronger, I hurriedly tried to comfort Shen Jihan. Don't worry, I'll be fine. There are some things I need to talk to her about. Shen Jihan had no choice but to restrain her emotions and put on an extremely weak look. Well, be careful then. You belong to me now. Don't do anything you shouldn't do. Gu Qingwei's face turned even darker, probably because she was thinking of the scene on my birthday. But Gu Qingwei, who was too proud to save face, still forced herself to roar at Shen Jihan. Do you need to control what we do? He is my husband, don't you have any sense of propriety or shame? Shen Jihan's main feature is to make people angry to death. I'm already a mistress, why do I need a sense of propriety and shame? Besides, I am a lover more legitimate than your little wolf dog. At least we got together after you cheated on me. 7. On the way back, Gu Qingwei was about to step on the accelerator into the gearbox. I was really a little scared. What if I couldn't return home alive? I didn't want to die with Gu Qingwei. It was too dirty. Sister Qingwei, please drive slower. We can talk about things with my brother-in-law slowly. The one who spoke was Gu Qingwei's little wolfhound, who was currently sitting in the passenger seat, looking like he was enjoying a good show. When the noise broke out just now, this kid was too scared to go in and hid in the room alone. When we came out, he looked at Gu Qingwei with red eyes. Gu Qingwei no longer showed her usual affection and hesitated for a long time before deciding to take him with her. Tokihashi, I'll take him home first. Gu Qingwei was like a sick person. Although she had a cold face the whole time, her eye contact was still very expressive. Sparks flew when their eyes met. The purpose is very simple, he wants to make me jealous. The person who glanced at me in the rearview mirror more often than the traffic lights did. But would I be jealous? How is that possible? I haven't loved you for a long time, how can I have any feelings? No, the only feeling was nausea. Soon, the car stopped downstairs of a building. Well, it seems that this was also bought by Gu Qingwei. How could a young college kid who has just graduated from school afford the large flat upstairs? Not to mention buying it, even renting it would be difficult. I'll take him upstairs first. I need to explain something to him. You wait here. Gu Qingwei said this to me with some anticipation in her eyes. I lit a cigarette nonchalantly. It's okay. You've already done what you shouldn't have done. It doesn't matter what you do. Gu Qingwei was a little annoyed and slammed the car door. He didn't even mention the fact that I smoke in the car, which is something I hate the most. It doesn't make sense. She was the one who wanted to be with the little wolf dog, and I have fulfilled her wish. Why should she be angry? Before he finished smoking, the young assistant came back again. The excuse was that the Piaget watch was left in the car. Of course, the more important thing is to declare sovereignty that has never existed. Why don't you get a divorce? Are you afraid of having no place to live? That's right. It's really not easy for a trader with no skills to find a woman as pretty and rich as Qingwei. But Qingwei likes me now, and you have nothing except that empty title. I looked at that obviously stupid but cute face and laughed, and now I won't give him face anymore. What? You can't even support yourself, and yet you come to laugh at me. Do you have the qualifications? Since she likes you so much, why does she let you be so shameful? Don't worry, I will talk to her later and make her sensible and give you a name as soon as possible. By the way, I own half of the family property because I'm her husband. What about you? I have the right to get back every penny I spent on you. Don't think you don't need to work hard at your young age. It's not easy to get along with a rich woman. His face turned pale with anger. I just closed the car window. He ignored her and was jumping up and down. Gu Qingwei has a good eye for choosing cars, the sound insulation effect is really good. Just a toy to kill time, who do you think you are? Although I don't want this woman anymore, there's no need to leave her to you. I can leave the debt to you. 8. An hour later, Gu Qingwei sat on the sofa in the living room with a sullen face. Her shaking hands showed her inner panic. Tokihashi, when did you start dating her? I thought about it seriously for a long time. That time I was afraid you didn't have a meal, so I went to the company to bring you a love meal. You sat on the little wolf dog's lap. I remember you said at the time that you were tired of being in love and married for 10 years. Gu Qingwei's hands couldn't stop shaking. There was finally a hint of panic in his eyes. She will never know that when I walked out of her company that day, I tried my best to suppress the devil in my heart. I used to love Gu Qingwei, loved her to the point of madness, because she saved me from hell. But this time, she took the knife and bit by bit cut the seal in my heart, and the devil was almost released. I can only choose to save myself. Let go of your yearning for love and pursue happiness in the present. Also let go of moral bottom line and enjoy the exciting life. But she has to pay a price. From that day on, I have been planning. I checked out all of her close friends one by one. It was still a little short of what I wanted until I met Shen Jihan. She just fits my aesthetic taste. The key is that it looks good and is sticky, and our goals are surprisingly the same. She wants the Gu group, and I want to get back the money that belongs to me. After a long while, Gu Qingwei finally spoke again. Tokihashi, you should break up with her. I swear I won't mess around outside anymore. Let's start over, okay? Human nature really cannot stand the test. My little lover is Shen Jihan, the eldest daughter of the Shen family in Beijing. Gu Qingwei is starting to re-evaluate my value. I guess you want to know why. When I was devoted to her, she felt that I had no romance. I couldn't bear to see her bear so much, and when I was always silently giving, she thought I was incompetent. What's the result? Do you think I am dispensable and I have to endure no matter what happens? I laughed softly, but my laughter was full of sarcasm. Gu Qingwei, it's been 10 years. I'm tired of it. I returned this sentence to her. Hope she can afford it. Gu Qingwei was stunned for a long time, her eyes turned red. Lu Shiqiao, even if you're divorced, do you think Shen Jihan will marry you? What's her background? She married into the upper class. Besides, she doesn't know about what happened to you yet, you. At that moment, the devil deep inside me wanted desperately to break the seal and crawl out of hell. I didn't say a word, but just looked at Gu Qingwei coldly. If you look carefully, you can see that my eyes are blood red. Gu Qingwei, originally I was planning to just take back the property that belonged to me. Now, it is you who has released the devil from hell, and you must be prepared to bear it. Seeing my look, Gu Qingwei panicked, and a hint of regret appeared in her eyes. I'm sorry, Tokihashi, I said the wrong thing, don't get excited. Now I finally understand why she always tries to find new things outside. Besides the fact that she just liked to seek excitement, what was more important was her disgust with my past. You also think that I did that. That's why you keep taking revenge on me. Tokihashi. She was completely panicked and wanted to hug me. In the past, this action could quickly calm my restless heart. Get lost, Gu Qingwei, you are a bitch. I pinched her neck and she was a little breathless. Veins bulged on his fingers. If he hadn't still had some rationality left, he would have strangled her to death. She was stunned for a moment, not expecting me to do that. No matter how much she did, I never dared to touch her. Lu Shiqiao, you actually dared to hit me. Is it because of Shen Jihan? Lu Shiqiao, you'd better wake up. You are just a condiment to Shen Jihan. Why are you so cheap? I can't stay in this house any longer. If I stay any longer, I don't know what I will do. Gu Qingwei, you are right. I am a bitch. I would rather be a dog for Shen Jihan than see you again. Please sign the divorce agreement quickly. After saying that, I left the house. Lu Shiqiao, come back here. Gu Qingwei chased me in a rage, but I could only see the exhaust fumes from the car. After a long time, I was sitting alone in the car and tried several times before I finally lit the cigarette. I have always deliberately chosen to forget what happened back then. 9. Gu Qingwei's words today were like an extremely cruel hand. He sent me back to hell and released the demon that had been sealed deep in my heart for 10 years. My original family is a blended family, at least as far as I can remember. My mother married me to a divorced man with a daughter. That daughter is 3 months older than me and is considered my older sister. Not long after the marriage, my mother gave birth to another younger brother. From then on, both of us, whose parents didn't love us, began to live in dire straits. Of course, they also dislike each other. When I was 16, she was hanging out outside and someone planted a seed in her body, which took root and sprouted. The stepfather's face was frosty and he kept questioning her. She was scared and slandered me. I certainly won't admit to something I didn't do. I turned to my only relative for help. Mom, you know me. I didn't do this. This is slander. My mother was just coaxing my younger brother in her arms. She didn't even look at me, and her tone was full of disgust. If not you, then who is it? Are people slandering you? Admit your mistake quickly, and your uncle won't punish you too severely. I looked at her in despair, my mouth full of the taste of blood. Yes, there is no place for me in her world anymore. There is only my stepfather's family, and she is willing to do anything to slander me. She wouldn't believe anything I said, even though she knew the truth. That night, my stepfather whipped me dozens of times and made me kneel outside the door in thin clothes for the entire night in temperatures of -10 degrees Celsius. At that time, my heart was gray and black. In the following year, my stepfather beat and scolded me, and there was always only one reason: that incident. The worst time, I was beaten unconscious. When I woke up, my eyes were bloodshot and in my hand was a dagger that I had prepared long ago. It was Gu Qingwei who saved me. She has seen me at my most miserable and knows what I care about the most. That thin embrace warmed my heart that was wrapped in darkness. Don't be afraid, Tokihashi. I know everything. Don't worry. I believe in you. Yes, she knew it all. She knew it was never me who did it. It is undeniable that she was once a ray of light that saved me from hell. It was also on that day that I chose to leave that home completely. No matter how much my mother begged, I remained indifferent. I won't go back. I'm just a punching bag for you to vent your frustrations on. From now on, I'll just be an orphan. I am a very stubborn person. Once I make up my mind, I will never turn back. But I still underestimated my mother's hatred for me. She tried to destroy me just to gain her position in my stepfather's family. At the school gate, she deliberately stopped Gu Qingwei. She sneered at Gu Qingwei. No one knows my son's character better than me. What you saw was all his fakery. He acted one way at school and another way at home. How can I slander him? Her mother's words undoubtedly planted the seed of contempt in Gu Qingwei's heart. It just needs an opportunity and then it will break out of the ground. I explained this to her once. You should know that your stepsister's boyfriend is also your classmate. She just hugged me gently and hummed. I didn't find out until today. It turns out she never believed me. Not even once. After checking into the hotel, I took a cold shower to clear my mind. After regaining my composure, I picked up my phone and sent a message. Let's get a divorce. There's no need to stay together and hurt each other. There was no response from the screen for a long time. 10. Just when I drank half a bottle of white wine and was feeling drowsy. The phone screen lit up. It was Shen Jihan. I heard there was a quarrel. Was it because of me? Well, I didn't expect that the young lady also has the skills of a green tea lover. Okay, don't be angry, I support your divorce. Tomorrow is a good day for a divorce. Do you need my help? It's a bit funny that this young lady is quite anxious to persuade people to divorce. Before I could reply, Shen Jihan called. Tokoyami, I missed you. The voice was full of grievance, the same old thing again. My lady, I'm very tired. This young lady had no intention of letting me go and kept chatting with me about this and that for more than an hour. The young lady felt bored. I'm wearing your favorite outfit, do you want to see it? I was amused by this young lady's train of thought. I want to. But I only see real people. If you show up within 5 minutes, I will obey you today. You want to tease me, right? No problem, I can do that too. Miss Shen's villa is in the north of the city, which is the city center. Even if you don't consider the traffic jam, you can't even think about it for half an hour. 3 minutes later, I received a knock on the door, accompanied by Shen Jihan's charming voice. I've arrived. Today you are mine. My heart felt like it was being squeezed hard by someone. After opening the door, the young lady was indeed standing outside. Shen Jihan, have you been here all night? She gave me a quick look. Are you concerned about me? I came here knowing you had a fight. The timing is perfect. No wonder this young lady dared to tease me, she had planned it all along. I know what happened today. I think you need comfort. I don't mean anything else, I just want to be with you when you need it most. A warm feeling rose in my heart. He held the woman tightly in his arms and was unwilling to let go for a long time. Tokihashi, divorce me and marry me. Those beautiful eyes were filled with longing. I knew the sincerity in her eyes did not deceive me. But like Gu Qingwei said, in fact we will not get any results. Jihan, the Shen family will not accept me. According to what we agreed upon, I will take the money and you will take the company. In the future, I will lead my team to serve the Shen group. Under the influence of alcohol, I spoke out what was in my heart. Shen Jihan's eyes dodged slightly. I see. I was right, or maybe she was not sure either. Tokihashi, I need some time, just wait and marry me. Smiling, I scratched her nose. Okay, I'll marry you when you've dealt with it. Anyway, I didn't suffer any loss. It's impossible to refuse a beautiful woman who is so stunningly beautiful that throws herself into your arms. 11. The next morning, Kuchingwei called me and asked me to talk. When I got home, she was cooking for the first time. If I remember correctly, she hasn't entered the kitchen once in at least 5 years. A flattering smile appeared on her face. Tokihashi, I cooked your favorite dish. Please sit for a while and you can eat it soon. Kuchingwei, please sign the divorce agreement. Tokihashi, you can eat in a while. I made all your favorite dishes today. Kuchingwei, I won't eat. The divorce agreement has been signed. Tokihashi, I won't divorce you. There is a misunderstanding between us. Let's talk about it while we eat. The same thing again, who do you think I am? You threw me into hell, and you think a meal can save me. I took a look at her face. He looked extremely pale, probably because he didn't get enough rest last night. Tokihashi, I reflected on it last night. I was wrong. Please give me another chance. No comment. Even though everyone stays up late, they are different. Shinji-han also didn't sleep all night, but she was still very energetic this morning and almost made me unable to get up. I have to say, this young lady is now my panacea for overcoming my inner demons. As long as I am with her, I feel an indescribable peace in my heart. He shook his head and pushed the thought out of his mind. Business is important. Kuchingwei didn't say anything in response to my ridicule and continued to cook lunch in the kitchen. Soon, 4 dishes and a soup were placed on the table. Kuchingwei hadn't cooked for a long time, so her skills were a little rusty. Although the food didn't look good, it smelled good. Tokihashi, these are all your favorites. Let's eat and talk at the same time. She is a little humble now, but it is all her own fault. Just sign the divorce agreement. It's boring to drag it out. I won't eat. Kuchingwei's eyes were a little dim. It took a long time to make. Try it. After saying that, he raised his hand. Look, it's all burned. I don't feel the slightest bit of heartache, let alone just a burn. Even if he was burned to death now, I wouldn't feel soft-hearted. Kuchingwei, when you said that, you should have known that there was no chance for us. You'd better sign the divorce agreement. I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. Tokihashi, I. The sound of me leaving the house answered her. 12. For the next week, Kuchingwei's enthusiasm for me was one-sided. No matter how I treat her, she never gets angry. It was as if we were back to the time when we first met. I was full of thorns, but she was always unspeakably gentle. Valuable gifts were sent to me every day, and loving meals were also prepared by hand and delivered to my studio. The result was affirmative, the gift was not accepted and the food was returned. One day, her best friend even called me and said that Kuchingwei was drunk and was clamoring to find me. Originally I wasn't going to pay any attention to it, but considering that the divorce agreement hadn't been signed yet, I reluctantly went back to my former home to take a look. Kuchingwei lay on the sofa, calling my name with drunken eyes. Tokihashi. Brother Lu, you are finally back. Qingwei has been talking about your name and insisted on looking for you. I politely sent those people away and sat on the sofa, far away from her. Stop pretending, you're not drunk. Qingwei sat up immediately, without a trace of drunkenness on her face. Tokihashi, you still understand me. I was wrong before, can you please forgive me? Just once. I promise I will never do that again. I will treat you wholeheartedly. If she hadn't mentioned that, perhaps the matter would have just passed. But the reason for all this is that hurdle that I can't get over. The seed planted deep in my heart has already sprouted. How can I go back to the past? Qingwei, we should have ended a long time ago. It's just that I always thought you were my salvation, and that's what kept me going until now. But you are not my salvation, but the knife that stabs me in the back. She pursed her lips and her eyes were filled with tears. Shi Qiao, do you really like Shinji-han? I looked at her clenched teeth and squeezed out the last words. Qingwei, what happened between us has nothing to do with Shinji-han. 13. I handed the divorce agreement to Gu Qingwei again. She rubbed her brows helplessly. You really don't feel any reluctance at all? I pointed at Shen Jihan, who was standing behind me, and said nothing. This young lady came here specifically to supervise my divorce. Since that incident, Shen Jihan has become much more excited. She knows that we will definitely end up in divorce. Now, she had no awareness of being in someone else's home. With her long legs crossed, she sat on the sofa with a domineering look. The assistant who brought it over also handed over a cup of coffee. The eldest lady was drinking coffee while pointing at Gu Qingwei. Gu Qingwei, sign the agreement quickly and don't mess with Shi Qiao in the future. I can still give you a bowl of rice. You chose a useless little wolf dog instead of a treasure. You really have good taste. When saying these words, Shen Jihan's eyes were sparkling and the corners of her mouth were almost curved to the corners of her eyes. She was so proud now. If Gu Qingwei hadn't spoken without thinking, it would have been difficult for her to achieve her goal. Gu Qingwei didn't dare to offend Shen Jihan, but couldn't help but refute. Miss Shen, are you so anxious to snatch a man? Where is your pride? Shen Jihan took a sip of coffee and narrowed her eyes slightly. Be anxious. There aren't many good men out there, so how can you not be anxious? Besides, getting Lu Shiqiao back is what I'm most proud of. Gu Qingwei was so angry that she was shaking all over. She had really broadened her horizons today. But I am still powerless to change all this. Tokihashi, since you are so heartless, I agree. I'll sign the agreement. If you regret it within a month, you can come back. This is our last chance. I felt something uneasy deep down. But I haven't figured out where the source is yet. 14. A month later, I finally got the freshly issued divorce certificate. I felt relieved that the previous layout could be started. I bought a bouquet of roses and prepared to give it to Shen Jihan. This girl has helped me a lot recently, so it would be better to make her happy. Just walked to the door of the house. An old figure rushed over. Shi Qiao, Mom has been waiting for you for a long time. How could you be so cruel and not come home to see Mom for so many years? I looked at this woman who was the most familiar and yet the most unfamiliar to me, and took a few steps back. I can't do it, but getting close to her is even more impossible. Thanks to you, your sister has completely fallen and follows some shady people every day. Your brother was tricked into paying money, and he borrowed a lot of money from loan sharks, and he's hiding from his creditors everywhere. Ignoring the woman who was still chattering, I suppressed my anger. Finally he spoke. Madam, I have signed a notarial deed of renunciation of inheritance and a severance agreement with you. Please don't disturb my life. The biological mother's eyes widened. You said it's okay, so it's okay. I tell you, they are your stepsister and brother, you have an obligation to help them. I looked at him coldly and uttered a few words in a cold voice. Who told you the address? Gu Qingwei, you don't want such a rich wife and you insist on getting a divorce. You are really sick. I lit a cigarette and forced myself to calm down. Perhaps it was because of my cold attitude that the expression on the woman's face gradually became ferocious. You don't have to care. Take the money. 1 million. I laughed, and it was a cold laugh. Ma'am, it's clearly written on the notarized deed of renunciation that I have paid you 5 million and severed all ties. This is also what you requested. Please leave immediately, or I can do anything, you know. Seeing my cold eyes, she knew that her goal for today could not be achieved, so she left cursing. Just as she left, Shen Jihan came back. 15. She looked at me tenderly and lay tightly in my arms. This little girl knows what I need right now. You know everything. She nodded, looking me straight in the eye. Tokihashi, those things are easy to check. I know you didn't do that. They don't believe you, but I do. I hugged him tightly. I was so weak now that I needed someone to heal my wounds. Shen Jihan, I will have no relatives in the future. Thank you for today. She rubbed against my chest affectionately. No, you still have me. I will always be with you. 16. But I still underestimated how crazy that woman was. When I first arrived at the studio on Monday, she stood on the roof and threatened to jump off the building. He was holding a loudspeaker in his hand. There are still a lot of people who like to watch the fun, and now there are no less than 300 people gathered downstairs of the building. They all looked at me with strange expressions. My son is Lu Shiqiao, the head of this private equity fund. He has had bad behavior and lost his morals since childhood. He was a bad seed since he was young. Standing downstairs, the warm sunshine shines on me, but it can't dispel the coldness in my heart. No need to ask others, my eyes were definitely bloodshot and my hands were already groping for the dagger on my body. But a long time has passed, and I haven't been crazy for a long time, and the dagger was thrown away somewhere in an unknown corner. The woman on the roof gave me life, but allowed others to abuse me for more than 10 years and kept throwing dirty water on me. It was not until Shen Jihan arrived that I found an embrace to lean on. I knelt on the ground and buried my head in her arms. She gently covered my ears and comforted me softly. "Tokihashi, relax, that wasn't your fault, I will take care of it." He then asked his assistant to quickly deal with the scene. The farce finally came to an end. "Tokihashi, how are you going to deal with this?" The familiar taste of blood came into my mouth again, just like when I was 16. This woman may have mental problems. I'm afraid she may pose a threat to others. I think she is suitable for long-term hospitalization. I don't want to see her again. I never felt loved by her. It's a kindness to be able to pay the medical bills for the mental hospital regularly. 17. I walked into Gu Qingwei's office with a cold face. He grabbed her neck and slapped her hard twice. "Gu Qingwei, you did all this, didn't you? This woman is really asking for trouble. She wants to use this incident to attack me. Let me break down, and then ask her to heal me again. Because she knows how I got injured, how stabbing will make me more painful, and how to heal after being stabbed." Gu Qingwei fell to the ground in a mess, blood oozing from the corner of her mouth. "Tokihashi, I don't mean anything else, I just love you too much, I can't live without you. I just want you to know that I am your only medicine. Come back. You can't live without me. You can punish me however you want, please come back." I smiled and gently wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth with my thumb. "When you did all this, you should have known the consequences. The devil has crawled out of hell, and you need to pay the price in blood. Gu Qingwei, get ready." Just as I was about to leave, Shen Jihan ran in. She was afraid that I would go crazy and do something irrational. Seeing that the situation was not developing in an uncontrollable direction, she breathed a sigh of relief. "You used the thing that Tokihashi least wanted to see to attack him. That was really despicable. You want to destroy him. Is this how you love him? That's really unique. You're done. I won't let you go." Gu Qingwei's eyes were filled with despair, and began to become fragmented. "Tokihashi, I was wrong. I just don't want you to leave me." Once, I was afraid of her eyes. I would feel so distressed and would coax her, even more distressed than she was. But that's all in the past. Gu Qingwei, you chose your own path, and you have to bear the consequences yourself. Gu Qingwei's face suddenly turned ashen, and her eyes quickly dimmed, without a trace of light in them anymore. 18. When I got into Shen Jihan's car, I just said this softly. "Miss, the plan can be started now." She nodded and drove towards the Shen Group building. For 3 whole days, I sat in the office and led my team to attack Gu Qingwei's company. By the time I opened the curtains, it was already daybreak. "Mr. Lu, the share price of Gu Group has fallen below the issue price. Shen Group has officially acquired Gu Group. The 150 million yuan you deserve has arrived." I turned my gaze to Shen Jihan, who had also not slept for 3 days and had been with me the whole time. Just as I hugged her gently and before I could say anything, the cell phone rang. It was a video call from Gu Qingwei. "Tokihashi, answer it. This should be the last time." Nodded and answered the call. Gu Qingwei no longer looked like the female CEO of a listed company, and stood on the roof in a disheveled state. "Tokihashi, I was wrong. I'm sorry, please forgive me. I admit that I never believed you in my heart, but no matter what, I was the one who hurt you. I'm sorry, everything that happened today is my own fault. I just want to ask you, can you forgive me?" I looked at her for a long time, and the past 10 years of our lives flashed through my mind quickly. The picture finally froze on the moment she said those words. Gu Qingwei, we're over. It's completely over. I will never forgive you in my life. Gu Qingwei smiled, and it was a very sad smile. She closed her eyes and it took her a long time to wipe away the tears. I'm sorry, I went too far. You said that once the demon is released, it will cost blood. Goodbye Tokihashi. I've always loved you. After saying that, she threw down her phone and jumped off the building. As for the little wolf dog, the things Gu Qingwei gave him were worth a total of 10 million, but most of the money had been squandered. Shen Jihan arranged for a lawyer to sue him. After selling all the valuables, the assistant still owed me 3 million, and was finally heavily in debt. 19. After sitting in the office for a long time, the devil in my heart seemed to have disappeared. Shaking my head, I walked out of the office. There was already a circle of people standing outside, all of them were prominent figures in the Shen family. The leader is the head of the Shen family, Shen Jihan's grandfather, who often appears in financial news. Shi Qiao, welcome to join Shen's. You won't regret this decision. The old man held out his hand to me. After letting go, I waved and called Shen Jihan, who was hiding behind me. We don't interfere in young people's affairs, ha ha ha. Shen Jihan no longer had the arrogant look she had when she was with me, and now looked a little shy. I took out the ring I had prepared long ago from my pocket. Get down on one knee. Miss Shen, am I honored to always be by your side? The eldest lady raised her head proudly before extending her hand. Lu Shiqiao, seeing that you are so sincere, I will reluctantly give you a chance.